Here we have an example of a camera move that has been put on a motion path here, and there's a couple little things going on that can definitely be fixed and be fixed really easily. I'm trying to go in a little bit. Let's go outside here and let's just look in through the window here so we can kind of see a wider view. And I want to look at this camera move from this perspective here. So the camera has been attached to this. It has been attached to this motion path here, and you can see what's kind of going on. So there's a little bit of kind of jerky motion going on, and that is a result of when the motion path was drawn. And let's just take a look at it here in the camera view, and you can see what's going on here. So when the camera was attached to the motion path, the keyframes are distributed according to where the CVs are put on the motion path here. So if I were to select the motion path, right click, go to Control Vertex, you can see here where the CV, oops, let's get that again, sometimes that goes away. You can see where the CVs, or the placement of each one of these control vertices, which draw out the curve, are placed. So for example, this camera, if we're going to play this camera, you can see that it's going to move somewhat slower between the CVs that are closer together, or it's going to do something, and it does a little bit of a move here. You can see that these two CVs are really close together. They're almost right on top of each other. And that's where we have that little movement here. Let's go here, where there's a little bit of a bump there. So this is what I'm going to do to make that better, and it's very easy, and you're not even changing any of the animation. The animation's fine. It just needs a little bit of smoothing out here. So I'm going to go to Control Vertex. I'm going to select, and it's really hard sometimes to select these vertices. It's going to deselect your curve. So I'm going to select that vertice and I'm going to delete it. Just press delete on your keyboard. I'm going to go here and I'm going to select this one there and I'm going to delete it. And let's do this one here. I'm going to delete that one there. Oops, delete that there. And of course we want to get rid of one of these here because they're right on top of each other. Again, I want to show you that. What's going on here. Control vertice. And there's two right next to each other. And that's going to cause a little bit of a hitch in the animation. And that's because when the curve was drawn out, you went and you clicked each one of those points, and maybe a point was clicked too close together. So this is a good way to check if you go into Control Vertex mode. And now that I have these spread out somewhat evenly, I can go and I can just adjust the curve a little bit, not too much. I always hate that. We've got to go into Control Vertex. Let's select this curve. Let's just bring it out. And we can even out these control vertices somewhat like that. Not too much, just a little bit. Just like that. Now, if we go look at our animation here, in the, what's going on here? If we go into the, sorry, my mouse is a little crazy sometimes, but let's just see here, and we can, and now that smoothed that out. You don't have all those little bumps, and that was pretty easy to do. And that's actually a very typical thing that happens when drawing control curves and going in, and you have to sometimes go into the component mode, look at your control vertices, and just even out your control path here just a little bit. One other thing I'd like to show you here is that we're in a room here, and I'm looking at what the camera's seeing, and I feel a little crowded. I'm going, well, you know, This is nice. It's a nice move. We're looking around the room. I don't have the textures didn't come in because I don't have the project folder and the file, but we're just looking at this and it's looking like a pretty good move. I'm going to select the camera in here, and you can select the camera in the perspective mode, or you can do it from the outliner. And in the camera shape, in the history here, we have a function called focal length. That is like the length of the lens. That's what gives you either a wide angle lens or a telephoto lens. The focal length is default at 35, which is about normal for what the human eye would see. It estimates what the human eye would see, but that's not necessarily accurate. So what I often do, and I use the 35 focal length, about part of the time, but I like to go and I'm going to make this 25. And that zooms out your camera a little bit. Actually, let's make it 20 just to see what happens. Let's go to 20 and we're zooming out and we can see what the room looks like. And let's see, even if we were to go to camera settings, let's go to resolution gate. You can see what's going to be rendered out here. And let's take a look. And this is actually going to smooth out your camera motion even more because you're farther out. You've got a wider lens, and okay, so it's still a little fast, and it's giving you kind of a fisheye effect. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to make that 25. I think 25 would be it'd be good enough. So yeah, you can do that and go into here and just do a little bit of a camera move there, and we're good. Again, if you wanted to make this even a longer move, I see it's about 100 frames, and open up the motion path here. It's about 100 frames. If you wanted to make that a little slower, we definitely could do that. Is if you go in the timeline, you can also do this in the dope sheet. I did in a previous tutorial, but I just shift selected that keyframe. I selected the U value on the motion path, and I can now left mouse click and just make that. Let's make it 100 and make it 180. And then we go look. Let's deselect that. And let's just look and see what that motion looks like. And it's a slower, more elegant move, I would say. And it's really, all it is just doing some fine adjustments. When you first do some animation in your using the motion path, it's never going to just default be exactly what you want. I can even go here and I'm going to delete that out. I'm going to take this motion, I'm going to spread these out a little bit. Let's see if we can just kind of mess with this a little bit and even adjust it even more. Let's just see if this is. I'm going to go here. Let's just see if we can control. See, let's undo that. Let's just undo what I just did before. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to take that first one. Can I even select that first one? Doesn't look like I can select that first one for some reason. I wonder why. Well, anyway. Doesn't like me selecting that first keyframe. Oh, I know why. That's because I'm not in control vertex mode. And it's not letting me grab that vertice there. There we go. I'm going to bring that out like that. I'm going to spread this out a little bit like that. And I'm just having fun here. I'm just sort of moving things around and experimenting around and coming up with some nice camera moves here. Let's go to frame 1 like that. This is looking okay. And let's just kind of look and see what we've got going on. Nice ease in, turning around, and a nice ease out at the end there. So there's some easy ways that you can adjust your camera move on your motion path. Very easy. You don't have to change. You don't have to redo anything. You could just use the existing animation, which is working, and just adjust it and tweak it.